Welcome to the journey on the Houndsman XP Podcast. I'm your host, Heath, and I could not be more excited to bring you today's episode. I have been fortunate and blessed enough to make acquaintances with Louis and Miguel, and I cannot pronounce their last names, so I'm not going to butcher them. They'll do that in their own time. But they're from Spain. Louis is retired canine police instructor with over 30 years in the law enforcement world. Miguel started hunting with hounds at a very young age. He is a school teacher, and he continues to train dogs for search and rescue, and he is an expert in man trailing. There is so much knowledge and information packed in this episode that you're not going to want to miss it. But here's this catch. Miguel does not speak English, so I had to have Louis translate for him. So there is a lag in some of our questions and answers. But I promise you, if you bear with us and let Miguel finish talking to Louis, you are going to come out of this episode with your wheels turning. I'm telling you. They are going to be spinning at 100 miles an hour, and we are just getting started. We did not scratch the surface in this episode of what Miguel brings to the table. So he's an author. He's wrote 2 books. He's currently in his 3rd book. He has developed an awesome, some of you guys are going to flip out when you find out what he has invented to help him train tracking dogs, trailing dogs. Sweet little tool. In fact, I'm trying to get them to hook me up. I'm going to try to get one myself for me. But guys, this is jam-packed, I'm telling you. Bear with us on the language barrier, and you're going to come out of this with a lot of ideas and a lot of new training tricks and tips that you're going to want to try to implement. So, sit along and join us on the journey. The journey on Houndsman XP has teamed up with One TDC. This dual action support for oral health and mobility in our dogs. This unique supplement is so effective that it is recommended by top veterinarian experts worldwide to maintain and improve our dogs' health in 4 different areas. Their oral health, hips, joints, and muscles, skin, coat, energy, and recovery. Guys, I've been using this product for the last 6 months, and it has been a game changer for me. If you're looking for something to help with the overall health of your dog, go to worksowell.com and give this product a try. It is highly recommended by Houndsman XP here on the journey. We are in Spain, and this is a first time for Houndsman XP. We have got some international people with us. We are honored to have them on with us today, and because there is a language barrier, we've got a translator, so there's going to be a gap. Louis is going to translate for Miguel. We've got Miguel on today, and I'm going to let Louis just go ahead and introduce himself and then introduce Miguel. That way I'm not butchering it with my Appalachian American, and you guys understand what's going on. So, Louis, it's on you whenever you're ready.
Thanks, Heath. Great pleasure giving us this opportunity to have this as chat. My name is Louis Baglietto. I'm British, actually, from down under South Spain, from Gibraltar. My background is operational from customs and police dog handling. I started as a drugs dog handler, and then I passed on to the British police as a dog instructor, doing general purpose dogs. Basically, I started in the dog world back in 1985, I think it was. I'm retired now, totally retired. I've got my own company, do some bit of training and stuff like that. And I met Miguel about 5 years ago through the Spanish Federation of Man Trailing, and that's where we met. We had the same philosophies and we thought the same things. and that's why Spot is now here. Miguel, I'll let Miguel introduce himself. Miguel, si quiere introducirte y hablar algo, te lo traduzco yo ahora.
Sí, hago extensiva tu agradecimiento por esta entrevista. Yo soy Miguel Ángel Carbajal. Comencé en el mundo del perro en el año 1988, en trabajo deportivo. Un año más tarde empecé en el mundo del entrenamiento de los perros de caza también. Y en el año 1995 comencé en el mundo de los perros de búsqueda y rescate. Y desde entonces he estado vinculado siempre al trabajo con los perros y desde hace años estoy volcado en los perros de rastro. Cualquier pregunta que tengan sobre mi actividad me la hace, pero prefiero no extender mi currículo para aprovechar el tiempo y hablar de los perros y de la formación.
Okay, so Miguel, he comes from the north of Spain, from region of Galicia. He started in the dog world back in 1988 with hunting dogs. Then a year later, he started in 1989 with sporting dogs. And then in 95, his first contact with the search and rescue world, taking part in the search and rescue team. He's been working with dogs ever since, and his whole world has been centered around dogs. He's actually a music teacher. That's his real profession. And he's grateful being invited here to be able to talk about dogs, basically.
Yes. What, Louis? What was his hunting? What did he hunt when he started? What was that about?
¿Qué caza hacías tú, Miguel, cuando empezaste a la caza? ¿Qué tipo de caza hacías tú?
Bueno, yo hacía mayoritariamente caza de pelo, que era los conejos y liebre, y caza de pluma, que es la becada, que es un ave migratoria. Entonces preparaba perros para rastro y perros para pluma.
Okay, so he started training, hunting for rabbits and game bird, and he used to train dogs both to track and to lift up the game.
Luego preparaba perros también por encargo y por pago para otras cazas, ¿vale? Para zorro, para corzo, para lo que quisiera preparar los clientes, yo les preparaba los perros.
Then he would also train other dogs for clients, for wild boar, foxes, and any other animals that they required dogs for.
Nice. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's what gets a lot of us people that like to track, which that's what got me into hounds, was the tracking. Short story. The very first time my great granddad owned fox dogs and coon dogs. And I really hated them because they barked all the time. They were tied out back behind my bedroom. We lived literally right beside my great grandparents. But we had shot a bear years ago, and my buddy had bear dogs, and he brought those dogs over the next day, and we started tracking. And when those dogs started opening on that track, you're walking through the woods, and they're telling you a story about what has been there. Like, I was hooked immediately. Hooked.
Okay. Vale, Heath también empezó con la cacería de caza menor, de pájaro también, pero un día le trajeron un perro de cacería de oso, y era la primera vez que tuvo contacto con ese tipo de cacería, y el tema de ver que los perros de rastro le estaban diciendo de que había habido un animal por ahí, que eso fue una experiencia fantástica, de cómo el perro le informaba de la presencia de ese animal que hubiera estado por ahí. Y desde entonces ya se enganchó en lo que en el rastro.
Yo he dejado de cazar hace muchos años, pero sigo rastreando de vez en cuando con perros de jabalí, que me deja algún amigo, y no lo hago para cazar, sino por el placer de rastrear. Entonces hacemos a veces rastros de muchísimos kilómetros, y lo bonito de eso para mí es poder ir con un perro por donde ha pasado el animal muchas horas antes. Entonces es algo que me sigue gustando todavía, sobre todo el rastro de jabalí.
Okay, Miguel doesn't hunt anymore, although he's got friends who has hunting dogs for wild boar. And now and again he'll go with them, not for the actual hunt, but for the actual tracking. Mm-hmm. For being able to track and see dogs tracking through where those wild boars have been, for kilometers and kilometers on end. And that's a pleasure he gets. Not the actual hunting, but the actual tracking of that animal.
Yes.
La última vez que rastreé un jabalí, cuando llegué a casa pensé si estaba bien de la cabeza o estaba loco. Porque cuando haces una acción de caza, cuando te entras en un sitio de mucha maleza, lo normal es ir por fuera y ver si el rastro continúa. Pero yo quería el placer del rastro. Entonces he tenido que ir gateando completamente acostado sobre los codos. Yo que te lo había contado a ti, Luis, no sé si te acuerdas.
Sí.
Completamente gateando por los pasos donde pasaba el jabalí y con la emoción del perro que va latiendo delante, viendo que vas viendo las pisadas y siguiendo las pistas, y en ese momento la emoción te absorbe y tiras kilómetros. Y luego cuando llegas a casa piensas, bueno, si en ese momento el animal está ahí dentro y se viene a por nosotros, me destroza. Pero volveré a hacerlo.
The last time we went tracking for a wild boar, what they normally do is when they get to the undergrowth, they try and find where the entrances and exits are around that area. But he was so emotionally pumped that he got down on his elbows and knees and started following the dogs through the undergrowth, all in trying to look to see where the wild boar were. And he was thinking to himself, if there is a wild animal in here, I'm a goner. He's going to have me for lunch. But it's it's high emotionals, high pumping. He just loves the idea of following those dogs whilst they're hunting down the wild boar, and he can see the footprints on the ground, and that's the best part of hunting for him. But he will do it again.
Termino con esto, pero el año pasado, perdón porque tengo la voz muy mal. El año pasado he rastreado con un buen amigo mío que se llama Samuel Toledo, es criador de sabuesos españoles. Hemos hecho un rastro de 20 kilómetros detrás de un jabalí y eso es verdaderamente emocionante.
Last year he went to one of his best buddies, Samuel Toledo. He's actually a breeder of Spanish bloodhounds. It's a very typical breed up north. And they tracked for 24 kilometers. And that was really a great experience for him.
Oh, wow. So, Louis, I was just, I was trying to pull up his post from yesterday, but this caught my attention, and I think we've skipped over that. How many books has he written?
¿Cuántos libros has escrito?
Dos.
Two. He's written 2 books in Spanish.
Estoy escribiendo un tercer libro, pero todavía lo estoy empezando. He escrito dos, uno en español y en inglés, el segundo en español, y estoy...
He's written 2 books. He's written 2 books in Spanish. He's actually starting to write a third one. Mm-hmm. But he's actually got two books in Spanish, of which the first one has already been translated into English, and hopefully the second book will be translated into English soon.
Y me han pedido también traducir el primer libro para Francia.
And he's also been asked to have the first book translated into French as well.
Nice. And they are all on, and I mean, I'm looking at one. It's the man trailing. So is it on how to train a dog? Is it what is it exactly on?
It's the methodology that he uses to train dogs, technology that he has patented to help him train the dogs, and basically explaining how he goes his process of training these dogs for man trailing.
And that's going to lead us into our next segment here. So we want to talk about his methodologies and philosophies. But first, real quick, the dog that I've got the video up, it looks like a blue dog. Tell me about its breeding or what it's out of.
The last video.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a red Labrador.
No, it's a. No? It looks like a blue tick. Hold on, I'll show you.
Sorry. Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Gascon bleu. Blue tick. Yeah.
Oh, Gascon blue.
Yeah.
But habla sobre el azul de Gascuña.
Azul de Gascuña.
So it's small. Yeah. Like for me, it's a lot smaller and tighter built than the Gascons that I'm used to seeing.
Dice que es más pequeñito y más delgadito que el perro de Gascogne que está acostumbrado de ver.
Porque en azul de Gascuña hay 3 variedades. El gran azul, el petit azul y el basset azul. El mío es el petit azul.
Okay, so there are three types of petit. The big one,
The grand.
the petite, yeah,
grand,
and then
sí.
the small one. He's got the medium one.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a very nice looking dog. Very nice.
Esta variedad de azul medio, de tamaño, se usa mayoritariamente para el rastro de la liebre. El rastro de la liebre es un rastro muy exigente, porque hay que encontrar el rastro de la noche y luego hay que seguirlo durante muchas horas. Pero también se está utilizando en otras especialidades, en jabalí, en corzo, lo que sea. Pero se han ido seleccionando los tamaños en función del tipo de cacería que querían.
These medium-sized ones are used for the hunting of hares, and they're specifically been bred for hare hunting.
For rabbit.
So they have hares. Rabbits. Rabbits. Rabbit. So they have to track for long distances because they move around a lot, and so they need to be nicely sized, to be able to follow these guys.
Okay, and on that post, because you and I talked about it briefly earlier, Louis, Miguel had posted that there's a distinct difference in tracking man and animal, and you and I both agree because we've done both. Like I've been hunting animal for 30 years with hounds, and I know that my success rate with animals is a lot higher than it is tracking a man. So let's talk about the differences that you guys feel like. What's the differences, and maybe we can,
Right. Okay. Vale, Miguel dice que quisiera estar mirando el vídeo este último de los 9 kilómetros que hiciste con Zuka. De algo que tú mencionaste allí, que la diferencia que hay entre rastrear un lolo humano y rastrear un lolo de animal. Dice que él también ha tenido esa experiencia, que para él es más fácil, él ve que es más fácil rastrear un animal que un humano, que hay más posibilidad de ser positivo, coger un animal que un humano. Y le gustaría hablar sobre el tema cómo pensáis y todo lo demás.
Ok. Yo creo que las personas que hemos rastreado animales hemos tenido una escuela muy importante en el rastro. Vete traduciendo si quieres poco a poco.
Right. We say that everyone that has tracked animals has received a special lessons from the dogs.
Porque los animales no te ayudan a que tú les puedas encontrar.
Because
es muy difícil.
Animals don't make it easy for you to find them. They make it difficult.
Pero para los perros es natural, es instintivo.
But this for dogs is natural, is instinctive. That animals make it difficult for them.
Fíjate que en varias generaciones podemos seleccionar perros con tendencia a seguir un tipo de animal.
Just to make note of this, through generations, we've been able to breed certain dogs to follow certain types of animals.
Entonces, los Beagle nacen con el instinto de perseguir zorros, aunque tú puedas rastrear otros animales.
Beagles are born with the instinct to track foxes, although you can train them to track other animals, but instinctively they are born with that instinct to track foxes.
Estoy hablando en nuestro país, porque ha habido una serie de criadores que han seleccionado ese tipo de líneas.
Miguel is talking about Spain just now because there's been certain breeders that have bred dogs specifically for that kind of animal.
Sin embargo, la misma raza, seleccionada por otros cazadores que solo quieren cazar conejos, los perros salen con mayor tendencia a perseguir conejos.
Yet, other breeders using the same dogs or same breed of dogs have bred them to hunt rabbits, and those dogs, when they're born, they have a tendency to prefer going after rabbits.
Pero en la actualidad no tenemos perros seleccionados para cazar humanos.
But in reality, we don't have dogs specially bred to hunt humans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Los perros seleccionados para humanos han pasado al circo de las exposiciones y nos hemos quedado sin razas.
Yeah, the dogs that were originally bred to hunt animals, humans, have been, they've been bred into show dogs and stuff like that, and we don't have any real breed that is bred to hunt humans.
Voy a añadir algo que es muy cruel y que no estoy de acuerdo con lo que voy a decir, con el fondo, pero voy a explicar algo importante.
He's going to add something which is very cruel, with which he does not agree with, but he's going to take it anyway.
Cuando se seleccionaban perros para un tipo de caza, los perros que no iban bien eran eliminados.
When they used
Como
to,
mínimo de la cría, no podían seguir criando, eran completamente descartados.
yeah, when they used to breed certain breeds for certain animals, those puppies that were not suitable, they would be discarded, got rid of.
Pero nadie ha hecho esa selección con los rastreadores de humanos.
But nobody has done that with breed of dogs for human tracking.
He dicho que me parece cruel y no estoy de acuerdo, pero es una realidad.
He says, you know, he doesn't agree with that, and it's cruel, but it's a reality.
Entonces ahora, con los conocimientos que tenemos y con la experiencia de gente que sabe más que nosotros, vemos que si cogemos cachorros muy jovencitos y los ponemos en rastros de humanos y seleccionamos los mejores de ahí y volvemos a criar los mejores y los mejores y los mejores para humanos, dentro de unos años podremos tener perros especialistas de nuevo en rastrear humanos.
So nowadays, with the knowledge of lots of people out there that know a lot about breeding, if we start breeding dogs, train them for human tracking, we get those best dogs and we breed them, and we start doing again the process of getting the best dogs from that litter for humans. Eventually, we would end up with a certain breed that would be specific for human hunting, something that hasn't been done at present.
Si tú quieres cazar osos y en una camada de perros de rastro le mueves la piel de un oso, vas a ver rápidamente como algunos le tienen miedo, o un oso, un jabalí, animales que desprenden un fuerte olor y que provoca miedo o pánico incluso en los cachorros, pero hay otros que van a meter la boca y van a seguir. Y la selección viene de elegir esos mejores. Pues en los humanos... En los humanos existe lo mismo. Si tú crías las camadas y ves los que tienen mayor predisposición a estar con los humanos, a seguirlos y a querer estar con ellos, vas a hacer una selección específica hacia ese tipo de trabajo.
When we're going to select a puppy for a specific hunt, we'll tease them with a piece of hide, and we'll see that some of them are more inclined to bite and others are afraid of it. So we start selecting the best ones from that litter. Yeah. If we can do exactly the same with humans, then as from the moment they're puppies, we can see which of the dogs are they've got more interest for that human scent than others. We start selecting those dogs and go through the process of selection to make sure that we can get a breed of dog that just has a passion for human scent, like any other hunting dog.
Entonces ahora lo que tenemos son perros muy buenos de caza, que debemos entrenarlos muy bien para eliminarles esos deseos de perseguir la caza, porque es algo que llevan en su genética, es algo instintivo. Cualquier olor de un animal va a excitar a cualquier sabueso.
So what we have now is hunting dogs that we're actually training for humans, very good human tracking dogs, but they still have that instinct to hunt animals. So when they come across any animal scent, instinctively the interest is going to be there. So we now have to clean those dogs off the animal scent and make sure that they ignore the animal scent and they just stick to the human scent. That's what we have at present now.
Yo cuando entreno estos perros que son de razas específicas de rastros de animales, los perros de caza, siempre pienso en mi cabeza, ¿te interesa mucho un conejo? Vale, yo te voy a dar algo que te interese más. Todavía con esto tengo que eliminar de sus deseos el cazar conejos. Okay. Pero yo les voy a poner una balanza y voy a ir muy a mi favor para que quieran rastrear humanos.
So what Miguel does is when he's working with a hunting dog and he's training a hunting dog, he thinks to himself, right, you've got a love for rabbits, but I'm going to give you something more to love than rabbits at the end of that track. And I'm going to try and turn that balance in the favor of what I want you to really track and not what your instinct is telling you to track. So the reward has got to be a much higher value than the animal's natural instinct to go and track for rabbit because it's been bred for rabbit, for example.
Cuando tengo un problema de este tipo con algún perro de caza y tengo necesidad de ponerlo a rastrear, trabajo sobre el instinto más importante del perro, que es el instinto de supervivencia.
When he's working with these types of hunting dogs, he works on the strongest principle of dogs, which is the survival instinct. He works on the survival instinct of the dogs. Okay.
Yes,
Vale?
when we train, I use the three things: food, water, and air. And food is a huge motivator because the dog has to survive, and he has to eat to survive. So, yes.
Dice, cuando él trabaja los perros con él trabaja en tres principios: aire, agua y comida, que son la supervivencia. Y la comida es lo que más le hace falta al perro comer para sobrevivir. Yeah, exactly. Right, that's correct.
Yeah. So, Louis, just start walking us through, because the conversation I had with Clinton, like, it really piqued my interest, and I want to learn because I have a puppy now she's 12 weeks old. I didn't get her until she was 9 weeks, so I'm a little bit behind the ball. But go ahead and tell us about Miguel's philosophy and what he does when those pups are born, if he raises them, how he starts imprinting odor, and how he works off of that as they mature.
Well, okay, I'll let Miguel explain that. Vale, Miguel, dice que lo que estuvo hablando con Clinton, lo que le llamó mucho la atención fue el imprinto de olor, el método tuyo con los cachorritos. Dice que él tiene un cachorrito ahora de 12 semanas, lo cogió cuando tenía 9 semanas, un poquito muy tarde ya, pero que quisiera que le explicase tú cómo es ese proceso que usa para hacer que esos perros rastreen ese olor por la comida.
Ok. Lo primero que hago es elegir un olor al cual el perro no tenga acceso.
Right, so the first thing he does is he acquires a scent, an odor, which is not accessible for a dog.
Si le pongo un olor humano y yo soy un humano y otra persona es un humano y ese olor está cerca, no puedo manejar el trato de ese olor.
Okay, so if he uses human scent and he uses a human scent and then there's his human scent and some other human scent, then he cannot manage that scent that he wants to use because there's too much human scent around.
Entonces, lo primero que hago es inventarme un olor.
So the first thing that he does is he will invent a scent.
Utilizo una fragancia, una colonia, una fragancia para bebés. Que
he uses toilet water, which is specific for babies, non-alcoholic, like scented water, basically, for kids. Cologne.
Y trato de impregnar a los cachorros con ese olor y que lo asocien de inmediato con el instinto de supervivencia, con su comida.
So he impregnates that watered down scent, the puppies, so the puppies will associate that scent with food for its survival instinct.
Entonces, lo puedo hacer con un cachorro de 3 o 4 meses o un perro de 3 o 4 años, o lo puedo hacer con los cachorros que acaban de nacer.
You can do that with a puppy that's 3-4 months old, with a dog that's 3 or 4 years old, or with newly born puppies.
Si lo hago con los cachorros que acaban de nacer, lo primero que voy a hacer es, con unas gasas, impregnar las mamas de la perra la noche o el día que está para parir.
Okay, so if he's going to start off with newborn puppies, what it does is he will impregnate a sterile gauze with that scent, that scented water. Yep. And the night before the bitch gives birth, is going to impregnate her tits, her glands, with that scent.
Entonces, no sabemos a ciencia cierta si los cachorros buscan las mamas recién nacidos por el olor o por el calor.
Right, so we don't know scientifically, we still don't know whether the newborn puppy searches for the glands via smell or via heat. We're still scientifically, we're not 100% certain on that.
Pero por si acaso, yo le pongo antes de parir y luego todos los días, porque el primer día que el perro utilice el olor para localizar las mamas de la perra, va a tener un olor de referencia.
Okay, but what he does is he puts that scent on the bitch's glands before the puppies are born, and every other day that the puppies are going to feed off the mum. So that scent is there all the time. So they start associating that scent with the food.
The Journey on the Houndsman XP Podcast Network is sponsored by onX. The most comprehensive mapping system in the world is available by going to onxmaps.com and downloading their app. Several subscription offers there. Highly recommend you using onX. And here's a true story for you. We've all got that spot where when we turn our hound loose at night, they're going to head that direction. Well, the other night, my hounds headed in a direction for that property that had recently sold. I had no idea who owned that property. I simply opened up my onX app, found the landowner information, cut the dogs off, and the next day I went to their house. And not only did I get permission to hunt there, I think I made some new friends. They are beef farmers, and they do not like raccoons running through the feed bunks, leaving their mess behind. Yeah. Go to onxmaps.com and download the app today. At checkout, make sure you use the promo code HXP20 and get 20% off. When you join us on Patreon, you will get a discount code for a deeper discount on onX Maps. Know where you stand with onX.
Al mismo tiempo, cada día tengo una bolsa de olores de humanos con gasas de humanos que voy pidiendo a la gente, un montón de bolsas de olores, un montón de gasas en una bolsa. Y cuando los cachorritos están durmiendo, les voy poniendo gasas por encima de humanos. Pero ese olor de momento no les refuerza nada.
Okay, so at the same time, what he's doing that, he's going to have samples of scented gauzes from different humans that he's acquired from family, friends, neighbors, and stuff. And when the puppies are sleeping, he's going to lay those gauzes around the puppies. Now, the puppies are not associating that human scent to anything, but that human scent is being recognized by them, although they don't associate it to anything else.
Luego traigo olores de animales y meto gasas de perros, de caballos, de gallinas, de ovejas, de vacas, todos los animales que tengo en la zona, ¿vale?
Okay.
Pongo gasas y hago lo mismo, le pongo por encima las gasas, una vez pongo de humanos, otra vez pongo estas gasas.
Then he does the same thing with animal scent, so you get sterile gauzes impregnated with horse scent, other dogs, animals, whatever can get around, and he will alternate at night when the puppies are sleeping. He'd either put the human scent gauzes or put the animal scent gauzes on top of the dog, so that they're actually recognizing those scents.
Is that to desensitize them from that odor so they don't pay attention to the horses and the goats and the cows, or?
Pregunta si es para limpiarle a los perros esos olores o es para que vayan reconociendo esos olores.
Espera.
Wait.
I'm getting ahead, am I?
yeah, you're getting ahead.
Okay,
Entonces
go ahead.
tengo tres olores.
So now he has three scents. The human scent, animal scent, and the scented water.
Made scent.
Le da de comer es la fragancia de bebés.
The one that gives the dog food is the fragrance water, the fragrance scent.
Okay. Cuando empieza a destetar los cachorros y viene la primera comida de su vida,
when the puppies start to wean off the bitch and start, it's going to have the first food, solid food.
Su cacharro con la papilla tiene gasas impregnadas con el olor de referencia, con la fragancia.
The feeding bowl that he places will have underneath sterile gauzes with the actual scent, the scented water that he's been using since they were born.
Cuando comen una vez,
when they eat once, solid food,
ya rastrean.
Now they know how to track.
Una sola vez.
First time. They eat solid food, they know how to track.
Entonces le hago un rastro con el vehículo trazador o con un trapo con el olor de referencia y a partir de ahí comen todos los días con este olor de referencia.
Right. So as from that moment, he's got two ways of doing this. He will either have a small water pump with the scented water in there, and he'll lay a little track of that scent and food at the end. Or he's also patented, it's like a remote control buggy with a water pump, which you can actually remotely guide it, and you can control the water, how much water you want, or scent coming out, etc. Yeah? And from that first moment that they eat, he will lay down a short track of that scented water with food at the end, and they will follow that scent to the to the food.
Y ahora viene la respuesta a su pregunta.
And now comes the answer to your question before.
Okay.
A partir de ahora, cuando pongo el cacharro de comida con olor de referencia, pongo gasas de olor humano.
So, as from the moment that he puts down the gauze with the scented water, he also puts down human-scented gauze.
Y de vez en cuando,
And now and again,
cojo el cacharro de comida,
he-
que no tenga ningún olor de referencia, pongo gasas de animales, se lo acerco y no hay comida.
right. And now and again, he will get an empty bowl, clean of any scent, and he places it down on the gauzes that have been impregnated with the animals, but there's no food in there.
A partir de ahí, ya puedo rastrear un humano sin ninguna ayuda de olor de referencia.
As from that moment, he can now track human scent without any help of the scented water that we use. We call that the target scent. So the
La
target
primera
scent,
vez.
momentito. In the book, we talk about target scent. The target scent we're referring to is the scented water. When we refer to the target scent, it's the scented water, which is the first scent that Miguel will associate the puppies with the food.
And then,
Ese olor target lo que me permite es poner a rastrear a los cachorros muy rápido a través de un olor específico.
Yes,
y luego inmediatamente le inundas con el olor humano y
Well,
pasan muy rápido.
The advantages of being able to start the dogs tracking on the scented water or target scent is that it helps us to get the dogs tracking very, very quickly, because it's a scent that doesn't exist anywhere but already associated with the food, and then it's very easy to put him onto the human scents.
Para terminar, por mi parte, si quiere preguntas que me las haga, las camadas que he hecho con este protocolo, los cachorros que ahora tienen 1 año, año y medio, 2 años, hay de 2 años y de 1 año, aman, adoran el rastro humano.
Okay, so all those puppies that he's actually started with this method, which are now 2 years old, 1 year old, all these puppies have a passion for human scent just now. Mm-hmm. They have a passion for human scent.
Mm-hmm. So that brings me to a question. Through my training and experience, how many of those dogs, Louis, do you see that they want to stay with the human, or is there a divide on, like, half of them want to follow odor and the other one wants to stay with the odor, which would be, i.e., the handler? Is there a breakdown there, or do they all just start trailing?
You mean with that they will ignore the animal scents and other scents?
No, like so they have a passion for human odor.
Human odor, yeah.
You're trying to imprint them on human odor.
Yeah.
Does that make any of those dogs want to stay with the, like, handler dependent? Like, I'm going to stay with you because this is where my source is.
Right. Okay, right. Dice de estos perros que aman el olor humano ahora. Si hay algunos de esos perros que tienen tendencia a quedarse con el guía porque ahí es donde está el olor de humano y que le va a darle la recompensa.
No, jamás.
Never.
No, never. Porque nunca recompenso a los perros cuando se están formando como guía. Es decir, los perros que entrenan conmigo, este es un tema muy importante.
Okay.
Este es un tema muy importante. Cuando yo estoy formando perros, mi papel es pasivo, como guía. El activo es el trazador. Y quien da refuerzo es otra persona siempre. Vamos así por partes.
Vale. Okay, so it's a very, very important point, right? When he's training dogs, Miguel, as a handler, will take a very passive role in the training. He will never reward the dogs. Mm-hmm. The rewarding is always done, or the tracking is always done with somebody else. And the track layer will always reward the dog. The handler, in this case Miguel, his role is totally passive. There is no interaction with the dog at all.
I understand.
Cuando entreno perros jóvenes, las primeras veces, cuando el perro llega al trazador, le hace una gran fiesta y yo lo que hago es retirarlo. Entonces, no me ve a mí como alguien que le está apoyando,
No.
sino como alguien que le está sacando de ahí.
Right.
Porque mi interés está en que siga la persona y no que se venga conmigo.
At the very beginning, when a track layer has laid the track and the dog reaches the track layer will start rewarding the dog. And what Miguel is going to do is he's going to take the dog away from the track layer. So Miguel's not the provider. Miguel is somebody who takes him away from the reward because his interest is always to be focused on the track layer. So he takes him away so the dog's saying, Miguel, my hand is taking me away from my reward. I'm not interested in Miguel. I want to be with the track layer who's actually giving me all the encouragement and the reward.
Con el paso del tiempo acabas formando un gran equipo. Pero al principio yo soy el malo de la película.
No entro bien, Miguel, repite que no entro bien.
Con el paso del tiempo acabas formando un gran equipo, guía y perro. Pero al principio yo soy el malo de la película.
Yeah, okay. So with time, you start building a very, very good bond between the handler and the dog. By the very beginning, Miguel is the bad man, let's put it that way, because he takes me away from my reward.
Hay
So
gente,
I'm not interested in being with him.
hay gente que le cuesta mucho entender esto, porque a la gente quiere premiar siempre a su perro. Y yo digo, si tú entrenas un perro para que rastree un jabalí, el premio está en perseguir el jabalí. Entonces el perro tiene que aprender que su premio, su refuerzo, está en seguir el rastro y encontrar a la persona. Ese es su gran premio. Cuando ya lo aprende, es cuando yo me meto en ese equipo y empiezo a formar parte de eso.
Some people, he says, some people find it very hard to understand this because people want to reward the dogs when they have the fines. But if you think of hunting dogs, when a dog is hunting a wild boar, the reinforcement is the actual hunt for that boar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then with time, when the dog learns this and it's got a passion for the hunting, for the scent, then afterwards you can get yourself involved as a handler. But at the beginning, the handler is not a provider. The reward is given, is received, the reinforcement is actually received from the actual tracking and the track layer itself, which would be his price at the end of the day.
It's funny you say that. I just discussed this back in the fall with my listeners. The five or six dogs that I'm running right now on Bear. Once that game is dead, they don't care. It's about the chase for them.
The chase.
Yes, it's the hunt. Yeah. That is what's driving my hounds. Yeah. They don't need that animal with
a kill.
Yeah, they don't need it.
Yeah.
And people like, they argue about it and they're like, no, and I'm like, no, step back and watch. Like the chase is what they're about. And that's exactly what you're reiterating to me. Yeah.
Exactly. Dice que es un tema que ha estado hablando mucho con otra gente de su podcast. Él tiene 5 o 6 perros ahora que lo tienen entrenado para cazar oso y él se da cuenta de que cuando uno llega a cazar el oso no tiene el perro interés en el oso. El interés de los perros está en perseguir a ese animal. Y una vez que llegan al final, el interés no es el oso en sí. Y es básicamente lo que tú estás explicando con el método tuyo, que es la pasión al rastro humano. Al rastro. The passion to the hand, to the track.
Al rastro.
Passion about the track. Yeah.
Yes.
Yo nunca entreno los perros a la vista, de la gente escapando, que les ve jamás hago eso.
He never trains the dogs on the runaway method. That they see the track layer running away. He never trains it that way. Never.
Porque no quiero que el perro vea a las personas escapar y les muestre interés. Yo solo quiero que tenga interés por el olor.
He's not interested for the dogs to see the track layer escaping. He's interested for the dog to have a passion and interest in the scent on the ground, and that's what I want to follow, rather than the guy's been running away.
Tenemos algunos perros y la gente, si me escucha esta entrevista, se verán reflejados, sobre todo de tipo sabuesos, que llegan al trazador, terminan encantados y siguen un rato, si les dejas, a ver si ese rastro sigue por algún lugar. O si el trazador ha estado en un punto y ha vuelto para atrás a esperar, quiere seguir el rastro. Es decir, son perros que aman por encima de todo el rastro. Están muy a gusto con el rastro.
If there are some people listening to this podcast who know Miguel and they know his dogs, he has Spanish bloodhounds that will get to the track layer And they're more interested in just continuing tracking than actually the interest of the track layer giving the reward. They just want to carry on tracking because it's what they love, to track.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're interested in. They might just find the track layer, a little bit of fun, and then they're sniffing again, is another track round here, which is what I want to follow. And that's what he wants to get out of dogs. The love for the actual track.
Estos son para mí los mejores perros.
For him, these are the best dogs who love to track.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no kill instinct at the end. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Louis, get me started. I've got this 12-week-old pup, and of course, I'm gonna put her on bear. So, where would Miguel start with this pup to get me lined out on getting her tracking?
Right.
Now, there's something I need to tell you real quick. I've done a little bit of testing with her. Her attention span, she's 12 weeks old, is about that short. Mm-hmm. So that's an issue that I already see.
Okay, vale. A ver, este caso no tiene, los quiere empezar él, los quiere formar él para la casa del oso.
Uh-huh.
¿Vale?
Uh-huh.
Usando el método tuyo
uh-huh.
y teniendo en cuenta que tiene 12 semanas y el tiempo de enfoque del cachorro es muy, muy cortito, uh-huh. ¿Qué proceso usaría basado en tu método para empezar este perro con el olor del oso?
Pues yo cogería el olor en un spray, el olor de una piel, de algo que tengan, en un spray, pondría una línea de olor con comida y a partir de ahí esa línea de olor le va a llevar a la comida cada día. Si tiene, ¿has dicho 3 semanas o 3 meses?
No, 12 semanas.
12
semanas. 3 meses.
Vale. Pues sus 3 o 4 comidas diarias a través de un pequeño rastro con el olor del oso.
Okay.
¿Vale?
So,
al mismo tiempo, tiene que ir acostumbrándole a una piel de un oso, porque le puede impresionar mucho con un trozo pequeño. Pero que para comer, que vaya siempre a través de esa línea de olor.
So what he would do is he would get a fresh piece of bear hide, right, and impregnate water with that bear hide. Lay down on a spray bottle with that bear hide watered down. Lay down a track with some tidbits of food on the actual track of the scent that you put down on the floor.
So
right? Little pieces of food.
Am I putting food with the track or at the end of it?
Yes.
With
no. It. First of all, you put it on it. Some of them on it. You see it. You see it as soon as the dog associated with the smell, he'll jump those pieces of food. And then every feeding time, you feed the dog 3 times a day. Every time you feed your dog, you lay down a track of this scent and this feed at the end of the track. Small tracks. We're talking about 3, 4, 5 meters, nothing more than that.
Right.
10 meters maximum.
Yeah.
Right. So every feeding time, the dog will have to follow that scent, which he has already associated with food, because it leads him to his feeding bowl. Okay.
Yep.
And at the same time, you need to introduce bear hide to the dogs so that they're not afraid of bears as well. You know, like big pieces of rawhide. Make sure that they're not spooked out by the actual rawhide.
Antes de continuar, me llegó un mensaje que dice que la llamada terminará en 10 minutos, que esté pendiente por si quiere renovarlo.
All right. It just received the message that the call will be finished in 10 minutes.
Yes.
Puede renovar o haga como quiera. Okay.
So that's how I would do it, right? First of all, spray water mixed with the bear hide, with little pieces of just little bits on it, so that he's following that scent and eating. And then after that, every feeding time, it's a small track of this scent with his feeding at the end. Miguel is showing you a piece of
olor del oso, olor de oso, olor de oso, comida.
Circles with the bear smell and food inside.
I got
you. Bear smell, food inside.
I got you.
And then you can actually lay a track with the bear smell and its food at the end every day in its mealtime.
Yes.
3 o 4 sesiones. 3 o 4 sesiones.
Yeah, 3 or 4 sessions of that.
A day.
Segundo ejercicio está al revés, creo, ¿no?
Sí.
Bueno, es igual. Comida.
Exacto.
Un poquito de comida aquí para el inicio con olor del oso.
Yeah.
Toda la comida. 10 metros, muy cortito.
Yeah, right. So the first time you do is just put the spray on the ground with the food in it, right? And then 2 or 3 sessions of that. And after that, You lay a track, a little bit of its food at the beginning, then a little bit of food, 10 minutes, 10 meters maximum of bare scent on the ground, and it's food at the end.
En,
Right.
menos,
Times
de
a
una,
day.
perdón, en menos de una semana,
In less than a week, you'll be laying down
50, 60 metros, 100 metros.
50, 60 meters, 100 meters in a week.
Nice.
Entonces, el perro no necesita morder ni volverse loco por querer cazar, lo que quiere es rastrear eso.
Yeah, so the dog does not develop a killing instinct that I want to kill the animal at the end. He gets the love of following that track because it gives him his food.
Porque algunas personas quieren rastrear un oso porque quieren cazar un oso, pero otras personas quieren rastrear un oso para protegerle y para saber dónde está. Entonces, el perro solo tiene que querer rastrear, no tiene por qué que querer atrapar.
Some people might train dogs to hunt bears. Conservatives might train dogs just to find the bear and not kill it. So the emphasis must be on the actual hunting and the tracking of the dog and not the killing at the end. And that's the way he works his dogs.
De esta manera el perro va a querer rastrear el olor que tú le has dado.
In this way, the dog will want to follow that scent.
Y su máximo interés va a estar en seguir el rastro.
And his maximum interest is going to be following that scent rather than getting the kill at the end.
Yes, I understand that. Yes.
Lo entiende eso.
So, Louis, I didn't realize that this was going to cut us off in 10 minutes. So, I want to talk about one of the things that that when we was talking about the books. I want to go back, and you said the technology. Has Miguel developed some type of technology that?
Yeah. What he develops is patented. It's like it's a small remote control vehicle, right? Which has it's remotely controlled. It's got its water container where you can put in a scented gauze with human scent or target scent, whatever it is you're using at the moment. It's got a small pump, and it's got a small plastic tray at the top. Now, what you do is you put the dog's reward meal, whatever, on the actual tray. You put your target scent or human scent, whatever it is you're using, on the water reservoir, and you can drive this remotely controlled vehicle wherever you want, depends the distance you want, 300 meters, 400 meters, or whatever, and you can be laying down the scent, and you can control the amount of scent that's coming out. So it can be a spray, it can be just droplets, and it helps you to be able to work with the dog on your own with nobody else. So if some people say, I can't do any track because I haven't got a track clear. With this vehicle, you can get your partner's scent on a gauze or somebody else's scent, put it inside that water container, take your vehicle with you, and you can practically lay down a track with somebody else's scent that's not even there.
Nice.
And the dogs will actually follow that, and you can use it. You know, the imagination is limited. What you can contaminate cross tracks. You can do lots of circles and contamination, and you don't need anybody to help with you. Obviously, ultimately, you need track clear, but it's a great help for puppies and for older and more veteran dogs.
Una de las grandes ¿Has terminado? Una de las grandes ventajas del vehículo trazador es que el perro ama el rastro, porque cuando llega, lo único que se encuentra es un pequeño artefacto mecánico con su comida, con su refuerzo, pero lo que le interesa es el rastro.
Yeah, well, the advantages of this is that when the dog gets to the end, it comes across a mechanical article that's got food on it. So the emphasis is actually on the tracking and getting to the end rather than the interest on the vehicle because it's not human. But the reward is there.
Luego, cuando
ponemos the passion for the track.
Cuando a esos perros les ponemos una persona al final que todavía les motiva más, lo que hace es subir más todavía el interés por rastrear.
When we put a human at the end of that track and the dog gets to the human, all we're doing is just increasing that interest for tracking because he finds that high value at the end with the human, with interaction and rewarding and the food and stuff.
Con esta formación no necesitamos correr delante de los perros, no necesitamos correr al final para escaparnos. Podemos eliminar muchos protocolos. Es muy sencillo porque el perro ama el rastro.
With this method, we don't need runaways. We don't need, runaways at the end of the track, runaway at the beginning, because the emphasis is on the dogs having passion for the track itself.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, Louis, we've got 3 minutes left.
Yep.
Like I said, yeah. So, I'm sorry. I would love to have you guys back on because I've not even touched the surface on questions that I want to ask you.
Okay.
But before we end this call, is there anything that you want to leave us with, what we've talked about today? We got 3 minutes.
Vale, dice que todavía ni ha empezado a hacer las preguntas que desee, pero le gustaría tenerlo otra vez aquí, pero si hay algo que tú añadir sobre lo que hemos estado hablando hasta ahora.
Lo único que puedo añadir es que este tiempo no llega para nada. No, todavía estamos empezando a tomar el aperitivo.
Miguel is saying that the time we've just had now is just the aperitif. There's much more things that
no hemos entrado en materia todavía.
We haven't really gone into the nitty-gritty of the stuff.
Yes. So would that mean that you guys would be willing to come back on here in the next couple of weeks or a month and finish this?
Que si estaríamos interesados en volver otra vez y terminar esta conversación.
Sí, por supuesto. Y si hay una plataforma que nos tenga más tiempo, yo no tengo prisa y podemos profundizar.
Definitely. And if you have a platform that gives us more time,
yes.
I mean, we can be talking here till tomorrow.
Yes, I do. I used a different platform today, and I will not use it next time. So, but Louis, you and Miguel, I can't thank you enough. Like I said, I know we have just scratched the surface on what you guys do and the things that you do, and I want to learn more. When Clinton told me about some of his methodologies and stuff that he done, I'm like, duh, like, I know this. Why am I not doing it?
It's happened to all of us. Dice que le ha encantado, que quiere aprender muchísimo más de lo que ha podido captar hoy. De que Clinton estuvo hablando con él, le explicó un montón de cosas que está haciendo y le había dicho, tío, porque no había pensado yo esto antes. Y yo sé de qué el tema ¿no?
Eso me ha pasado a mí.
Yeah, it's happened to him as well.
Yeah.
It's happened to all of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it'll be a pleasure being back again with you.
Okay, good. Yeah, because we're under a minute now. Like I said, I'm sorry. I didn't realize this platform was going to cut me off at an hour. Louis, thank you. Thank Miguel. And I will reach out to you. I'll probably reach out to you in the next day or two, and we'll try to schedule the follow-up because this is great stuff.
Okay.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me.
Yeah, gracias.
Great pleasure being here.
Gracias.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, guys.